Nobody does fall better than Whole Foods Market. The Spice Up Autumn event is happening now. Save on animal welfare certified beef top sirloin steak, perfect with gravy for a comforting meal. Find savings on organic Honeycrisp apples and organic pears. Then visit the bakery department for their limited time pumpkin butter chai cake. And while you can, level up your fridge with fall wine, beers, and ciders. Spice Up Autumn at Whole Foods Market. Terms apply. Must be 21 plus. Please drink responsibly.
Have you ever noticed how a calm mind can really set the stage for a good night's sleep? That's the idea behind our new podcast, Good Sleep. Greg, our host from Optimal Relationships Daily, is here to help ease you into a peaceful night's rest with some positive affirmations. And these affirmations aren't just comforting, they can help ease anxiety and nurture positive thoughts, setting you up for true good sleep. So, press play on Good Sleep tonight because a good tomorrow starts with a good night's sleep. Just search for Good Sleep in your podcast app and be sure to pick the one from Optimal Living Daily. It's another Q&A edition of Optimal Health Daily, episode 2316, and I'm Dr. Neal Malik. Welcome back to another Friday show where I answer your questions. On all the other days, I read health and fitness blogs to you like an audiobook, with permission from the authors, of course. Now, I'll let you know how you can send in your own question at the end of the show and get a copy of our workbook for free. But for now, let's hear today's question and start optimizing your life.
Hi, Dr. Neal. My name is Naomi. I am from London, UK. My question is regarding exercising. I've really gotten into exercising over the past year. More recently, I've got to the stage where I'm not really looking to gain muscle, but I still want to make working out a challenge and build strength. I get kind of confused when I look at things about rep ranges and sets. What would your advice be?
Thank you for your question, Naomi from London. I'm actually trying to plan a trip to the UK next summer. I was in London back in, 1998, but I'm hoping to go back. I had a wonderful time. This time around, I want to visit Northern Britain. I want to see Ireland and Wales and Scotland. In 1998, I didn't get to visit Stonehenge even, or as one of my adult family members calls it, Stonehenge. I guess she pictured it as a hedge made of stone. I'm thinking if she visited the site, she would be pleasantly surprised. That it's not just a sculpture of some shrubs in the shape of a hedge. Anywho, back to your question, Naomi. I'm glad to hear that you're consistent with your exercise. It sounds like your goals are to incorporate some strength training to help stay functional and mobile with minimal risk for injury while keeping your heart healthy. And you don't want to become overly muscular. You also mentioned that you would like some clarification regarding rep ranges and sets. So, here we go. I'll start by saying that it's difficult for most of us to build too much muscle. Guys will tell me they don't want to get too big and that they just want to look like a Greek statue. Well, regardless of gender, the reality for most is that it actually takes quite a bit of work to look like a Greek statue. And to get too big, meaning overly muscular, it takes even more work than that. Not only that, but as we age, our muscles tend to shrink or atrophy. This starts to happen when we get into our late 20s and then accelerates from there. So it seems like so much is actually working against us when it comes to trying to build muscle or even too much muscle. But incorporating any form of strength or resistance training is always a good idea regardless of your aesthetic goals. That's because these types of exercises help strengthen our bones, which is super important, especially as we age. And luckily, the American College of Sports Medicine, also known as ACSM, has some recommendations for those that would like to incorporate resistance training, but more for overall health and fitness, as opposed to building all of that muscle. But before I get to that, I want to be sure I'm clear about the terms sets and reps. Reps is just an abbreviated version of the word repetition. Repetition or reps refer to how many times you repeat a movement. For example, how many times you lift a weight before putting it down. So let's imagine you're performing some resistance training. Imagine you're holding 20-pound dumbbells in each hand. You decide you want to perform some shoulder presses with those 20-pound dumbbells. So You lift the dumbbell so that you're holding each with your palms facing forward near your ears, the starting position for a shoulder press. Once you're set in this starting position, you then engage your shoulders and press your arms over your head to full extension. Then you bring the weight back down to the starting position near your ears. The act of pressing the weights over your head and bringing them back down to the starting position would count as one repetition or one rep. But because that first repetition was easy, you realize you're able to lift the weight, let's say another 7 times before you put the weight down to rest. This would mean you performed another 7 repetitions or 7 reps. So you just lifted the weight 8 total times. Remember, you lifted that weight the first time, but that was so easy, you lifted it another 7 times. 1 plus 7 equals 8. All right, so after lifting the weight 8 total times, now you're feeling tired. So you put the weights down, you shake out your shoulders, and rest for 30 seconds. We would then say that you completed 1 set of 8 shoulder presses. Another way of saying that would be you completed 1 set of 8 reps. After the 30 seconds are up, you pick the weights up again and perform the same movement, shoulder presses, another 8 times. We would now say you performed 2 sets of 8 repetitions or 2 sets of 8 reps. If you repeated this process yet another time, we would say you completed 3 sets of 8 reps. Okay, so the American College of Sports Medicine, ACSM, says if you want to incorporate some resistance training but don't want to get too big, then here are the reps and sets you want to aim for. They say no matter the exercise, aim for a weight that you can lift anywhere from 12 to 20 times. Another way of saying this is to find a weight that will allow you to perform 12 to 20 reps or repetitions. But you don't just perform 12 to 20 repetitions and then move on. You want to repeat this, so you do this 2 to 3 times. Or to put it another way, you want to perform 2 to 3 sets of 12 to 20 repetitions. So what you do is you lift the weight 12 to 20 times, then put the weight down and rest. This would be set number 1. ACSM recommends that if you want to incorporate some resistance training but don't want to get too big, rest for 30 seconds or less. Then grab the weight again and lift it another 12 to 20 times. This would be set number 2. And if you feel like it, pick the weight up again and lift it for another, you guessed it, 12 to 20 times. This would be set number 3. So, if you did this, you would have just performed 3 sets of 12 to 20 repetitions or 12 to 20 reps. I hope that helped, Naomi. Now, even if someone is not too keen on building muscle, I still recommend everyone mix up their routines. So, you can follow these guidelines that I just shared with you for a while, but to keep the body guessing a bit, it's good to add and remove weight to change the number of repetitions performed. Then, mix up the sets too. Sometimes you can just perform 1 set and then move on. Other times, perform 5 sets. The advantage of doing this is that by mixing things up, you may be able to prevent injury while preserving muscle, not necessarily getting too big. What do you call a person who speaks 3 languages? Trilingual. Someone who speaks 2? Bilingual. Someone who speaks 1? American. Only 22% of Americans speak a language other than English at home. Start learning a new language this fall and be the exception. With Babbel, you start speaking a new language in just 3 weeks. Instead of paying hundreds of dollars for a private tutor or fooling yourself with language apps that are little more than games, Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons are designed by over 150 language experts to help you start speaking a new language fast. And for me, I love Babbel because it teaches you to speak the way native speakers do, lingo and all. So having real conversations is much easier. Here's a special limited time deal for our listeners to get you started right now. Get 55% off your Babbel subscription, but only for our listeners at babbel.com/OHD. Get 55% off at babbel.com/OHD. Spelled BABBEL.com/OHD. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Nobody does fall better than Whole Foods Market. The Spice Up Autumn event is happening now. Save on animal welfare certified beef top sirloin steak, perfect with gravy for a comforting meal. Find savings on organic Honeycrisp apples and organic pears. Then visit the bakery department for their limited-time pumpkin butter chai cake. And while you can, level up your fridge with fall wine, beers, and ciders. Spice up autumn at Whole Foods Market. Terms apply. Must be 21 plus. Please drink responsibly.
Thank you for the question, Naomi. Now, if you want a physical copy of our Optimal Living Daily Workbook shipped to you for free and you're in the U.S., send in a relevant health-related question. It can be about diet, fitness, nutrition, stress management, anything along those lines, and your question will be answered right here on the show. If you're outside the U.S., we'll send you a digital version of the workbook. So, to send in a question, you can email one to health@oldpodcast.com. Or if you want to send in via audio and have your voice played on the show, come by oldpodcast.com/ask to record your question from your computer. Or you can do it the old-fashioned way and call in your question. The number is 61 I love OHD. That's 1-614-568-3643. Thank you so much for sending in your questions. Answering them is my favorite part of the show. All right, that's another Q&A edition of Optimal Health Daily. Thank you so much for listening every day and all the way through. I hope you have a great start to your weekend, and I'll see you back here tomorrow where your optimal life awaits.